Welcome back to Talkville, folks, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. And we've got a great guest today. Great guest. So we're going to fly by this so we can get to our guest. But Ryan Tejas is here.
I am still here.
Always good to see you. We've got Bryce behind the curtain. He doesn't like to be seen. He's a big producer who doesn't like to be seen. But he's got a great body. I've seen him without a shirt. And there's Tom Welling sitting down with us.
Hi, guys.
We love you guys. And thanks for joining patreon.com/Talkville to support this podcast. And also a little plug to my podcast, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. If you haven't listened, I'd love for you guys to listen and support the show there. Also, patreon.com/Inside of You there. There's talkvillepodcast.com and Inside of You online store for tons of Smallville merch signed by me and Tom. So check out that. We got Smallville pilot scripts and all that stuff. If you didn't get a chance to leave a question on the hotline, do it. You know what to do. Everything's in the show's description. You can't be a new listener now. You know what I'm going to say.
It's the best part.
And the Instagram. By the way, our top tiers. We have a grand tier, and that's you could join and you watch selected episodes with me and Tom, and it's a blast. And you also get a unique poster created for you, signed by me and Tom. And it's really amazing. So there's only a couple seasons left. If I get past season 7, we'll see. That's up to you. I guess that's up to me. But also my Instagram, go at the Michael Rosenbaum. Go to my link tree for all the cons that me and Tom are doing. Check it out. And Cameo. And without further ado, let's get into season 6, episode 11, Justice. Title Justice aired January 18, 2007. Director Stephen S. DeKnight. Writers Stephen S. DeKnight. Guest star Kyle Gallner, awesome, as Bart. Alan Ritchson, awesome. Arthur Curry. Lee Thompson Young, awesome. Victor. Justin Hartley as Oliver Queen. Arrow, mediocre. No, awesome. Synopsis: the Justice League teams up, and it's super badass. The episode opens with an aerial shot into the DP as Chloe gets a visit from Dr. Caselli, a man who she believed is responsible for the release of high-security patients from Belle Reve. Chloe asks if this has anything to do with Luthor Corp's 33.1, and the doctor politely responds, with a pistol.
Before she gets pumped with lead, a red blur super speeds in and saves her. Clark arrives shortly after. Jealous that he wasn't able to save her, he pursues after the other hero. This takes him to the streets of Metropolis, where he openly and brazenly gets reunited with the Sultan of Speed, Bart Allen.
He looks so young, Bart, and I got to tell you, watching this episode, he's a really good actor. He even then, he just took chances and was quirky and did this the way he talked, the way he acted. He created this character off the cuff for the most part. In the last episode, but in one of the previous episodes, but he comes back and he's just got all this great energy. And right off the bat, the direction of this, the energy of this, you could tell this is going to be a good episode. You could just tell.
Well, when we had him as a guest on the podcast, he talked about how much he really loved and wanted to be there. And I think that comes through. Like, he really wanted to be there. He was having so much fun with it.
It was like my first real get. Like, I had just been out in California. I hadn't been out there very long. I moved from Pennsylvania. And it was sort of like my first real deal thing. It was cool because everybody was so nice with their time, and really, I truly learned a lot on that episode because everybody kind of took me under their wing, and it was really a very safe space to kind of fuck up almost. I had never been around anything like that before.
So you were a kid in a candy store pretty much. You were sort of like,
oh my God.
Shit.
I mean, it was so fun.
The next day, Clark discusses the supply and demand issues with his ability to save people and the various bad guys across the world. Chloe goes on to talk about Lex's involvement with the Belle Reve staff, but before she can leave, Bart Allen speeds in and puts the moves on her. Clark kills any fun by announcing that Chloe is spoken for. The two Superboys talk about Bart's questionable past and how he's changed his ways. Whether or not Clark is suspicious of that.
Back in Metropolis, Oliver and Lois return home from a boozy brunch and get cock-blacked when he receives an urgent call. Lois gets upset about the repeated wet noodle, to which Oliver suggests they take a break. And by break, he means a vacation in Monte Carlo, which totally is going to happen. Don't worry.
We've got the budget for Monte Carlo.
Later that night in Luthor Mansion, Lionel visits his son in a panic after another LuthorCorp facility gets raided. He fears the 33.1 House of Cards is falling down, but Lex is unbothered. He wants to capture the super being responsible for the chaos and add him to the mixed bag of nuts in his loony bin. And as they leave, we see Bart Allen super speed into the office to hijack Lex's laptop and steal files. He escapes back into Metropolis to meet with his ringleader, another super dude who wears black sunglasses at night, the Green Arrow. This is just quickly paced.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
It was like, okay, we see Arrow, we see Bart, we're going to see someone else.
The next day in Metropolis, Clark foolishly thinks he can get aid from Lionel Luthor with regards to the Belle Reeve Doctor and any involvement in 33.1. Lionel accuses him of being the blur that Lex caught on camera, and instead of taking the blame, Clark denies involvement.
Is Lionel playing his own self-interest here, knowing how he covers for Clark later in the episode, but still wants to help Lex expand 33.1? Where is his allegiance, and what do you think his self-interests are? Power, control? Always power and control.
Always.
So it's always he's out for himself.
Yeah, he might think he has the upper hand on Clark. He's like, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. We then cut back to Smallville and see Bart putting a dent in the Kent's pantry. Clark rushes home pissed off, accusing Bart of stealing from his arch nemesis Lex.
Bart tells Clark he can't reveal all his secrets and super speeds off before the big blue Boy Scout can poke any more. I like this competitive thing with Bart and Clark.
Yeah.
It's like, he's like, I'm faster than you. I got you, buddy.
And Clark knows it, and he's trying to hold his like, well, I know about what's right and wrong.
Clark should have said, I'm taller than you.
Clark hits the talent to talk to Chloe, but after seeing Lois with her Green Arrow lingerie, he begins to reflect on the downside of keeping secrets. Speaking of secrets, he tells Chloe about Bart's super speed and then asks her to steal phone records to track him down.
Later that night, we see Bart breaking into another LuthorCorp facility. The Flash whips out a flash drive, but gets shocked while attempting to plug it in. And then Lex walks in to admire his successful booby trap.
No, that's such a classic evil move where like the SWAT team comes in and then the bad guy comes in with the trench coat like, I knew all along.
In a fit of FOMO, Clark heads to Oliver's penthouse and asks why he didn't get the invite to the super cool Super Hang gang. He's worried about Bart's involvement and believes he's being used and abused by Queen. And Clark learns that they have been overlapping super priorities and that he is evidently the last pick on Oliver's super team as we see AC, Aquaman, Victor Stone, Cyborg emerge from their hiding spot in his penthouse. This is cool. Like, we're getting going. We're getting going now. We got to figure out what the operation is, what the sting is, what we're doing here. It was exciting. It was like, all right, this is the first time we've had this on Smallville.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool. I liked it.
Lex pays a visit to his newest super freak subject, Bart Allen. He recognizes the thief from previous run-ins and begins interrogating him. Bart asks for a lawyer. Lex asks for a ponytail.
Disappointment abounds. I love that line. Didn't you?
Great. That was awesome.
That was good.
I liked it. Bart tells him to kiss his ass. So Lex triggers some evil hamster wheel device that forces Bart to stay in motion or else he gets shocked.
Crazy Lex had the
Where do
time
you
to
get
create.
that?
I know. Lex Luthor had the time to create this torture device while planning a wedding. True testament to his work ethic. While Oliver and his team attempt to
And
track
expecting
down,
a child.
while they're tracking down Bart, Clark attempts to find out why he was kept out of the clubhouse for 6 months. Oliver talks about providing a home for the super homeless and discusses the value of not being a one-man team.
Clark goes to air out his FOMO grievances with Chloe in the DP. He then asks her to narrow down Bart's potential location, but instead of devising a plan as a team to save Bart, Clark goes solo, neglecting to take in what Oliver just told him an hour ago.
Chloe is quickly becoming the biggest super liability on this show. She knows everyone's secret, whether they like it or not. Preggers, Superhero Clark, freaking Green Arrow, now AC and Cyborg, Flash. She's like, it's only a matter of time before she loses her memory. Clark heads to the LuthorCorp facility, which, unbeknownst to him, is covered with lead shielding and kryptonite that will weaken his mojo. After finding out that they have now to save Bart and Clark, the three amigos head to the facility with Chloe Sullivan playing Watchtower. They use super skills to break in and start kicking ass. I thought this whole thing was cool.
It was awesome.
Walking down the hallways, superhero like, AC coming out of the vents in the water. And like Oliver sends Cyborg on a side quest while he is going to drag Clark away from the kryptonite. Oliver criticizes Clark for being impulsive and then asks him to go find Impulse. Flash.
Impulse, yeah. Yeah, do we already cover why they can't call him Flash? Because that bothered me, but that was just because I know him as Flash.
I think there was I don't know.
I think it's because some guy was like voicing the character for an animated series or something.
Yeah, it was stupid. They're so stupid.
Yeah, it was a dumb legal reason, but that's okay. I'll forgive him. Cyborg questions Aquaman's fish stick and lack of clothing while the Green Arrow begins setting explosives throughout the facility. Clark tracks down Bart and is able to rescue him from his hamster wheel death spiral. Out in the halls, Lex is trying to figure out what the F is going on, man, when he bumps into the Green Arrow, who greets him by threatening to blow the whole place to smithereens. Lex invites him to hell and then gets grazed by a precise shot from his billionaire counterpart.
I liked it. That was cool.
This whole thing was so cool.
It was. Clark and Bart meet back up with Oliver, who is coordinating the evacuation and detonation of the Luthor Corp facility. While Clark is hesitant to the idea of this explosive vigilante act, he can't deny the opportunity for a cool slow-mo superhero exit, and all 5 super bros walk away from their mission and formation. And the explosion, and I thought... They just killed all the people in 33.1.
Well, no, Clark had Chloe make sure that there was no one in the facility that before he okayed the explosion. They just established that.
They were moved.
Clark had to do a thing where he's like, make sure everyone's gone. And then he's like, yeah, blow this motherfucker
I know
up.
when he said that, I go, but what about the 33.1? I guess they had to move him anyway because they found out about it. So,
well, one of the things that came to mind when I was watching this is, you remember when Lionel earlier in the season wanted to help Clark so much? Like maybe Clark put in a text to Lionel and said, move all the people. I don't know.
Yeah, I buy that. I guess so.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. In his efforts to save the world, Oliver is struggling to save his relationship with Lois as he completely drops the ball on their romantic vacation to Monte Carlo.
That was harsh.
He pulls the dead parents card to try and draw some sympathy, but ultimately leaves Lois heartbroken, telling her he's not coming back anytime soon.
Lex heads back to Luthor Mansion. I really love that scene. That was intense and sad. Lex heads back to Luthor Mansion to lick his wounds and receive a lashing from his father. Lex, son. The only motivates Lex to continue forward with 33.1, fighting fire with fire. Apparently, security from the facility described one of Green Arrow's accomplices looking similar to Clark Kent, to which Lionel covers for him. The nameless Justice League reconvene inside Clark's barn to discuss what they should call themselves. Oliver shares that while rescuing Bart, they were able to hack into the 33.1 mainframe, learning that Lex is opening 33.1 throughout the world. And they invite Clark to join the team, but he tells them he's taking his talents to Smallville because he still has some zoners to deal with. Huh. Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about them.
Me too. Closing thoughts. With all the loss in Clark's life and broken relationships, this was kind of nice to see him welcomed in by a group of people. Were you surprised when Chloe was surprised to find out Bart could super speed? I mean, he wasn't hiding his powers, popping in and out through the whole episode. That was pretty cool. Interesting things to note. Chloe's codename Watchtower is the name of Justice League headquarters. This is the 11th episode of the season and the start of an annual unofficial tradition where the 11th episode of each season introduces a new character. This is the last appearance of Justin Hartley as Oliver Queen for this season. Lana Lang does not appear in this episode. After this episode, the spin-off series in which Oliver led the Justice League made it into early development, and the series was to be helmed by Stephen S. DeKnight, the director and writer of Justice and so many other great things. And he's here, and we're going to talk to him. Talkville is brought to you by AG1. I don't know how many times we have to say it, but we love AG1. I love it so much that I'm having my mom use it, my sister use it, my friends, there's patrons that use it. We talk about habits, Tom. We talk about getting into healthy habits. I'm not one that loves to take tons of pills every morning. Got vitamin this and vitamin that, and that's great. But wouldn't you rather just do it in a nice, tasty drink? You just do 1 scoop of AG1 in the morning in a glass of water and mix it. It tastes good, and you're getting so many vitamins and minerals and nutrients, probiotics, prebiotics for your stomach, gut protection. it's just a no-brainer, folks. It's, I dare you to try it and tell me how you feel, because for me and Tom, we've got energy, sustained energy, and a lot of focus. Tom, and we talk about this all the time.
Well, just this morning, I packed my bag for the con we're doing this weekend, and I got my AG1 travel packs in it.
I got mine too.
Yep.
Yeah, AG1 is just awesome. Look, when it comes to our health, we want something we can trust, and that's why we choose AG1. With science-backed ingredients and real benefits we can feel, AG1 makes it easy to support overall wellness every single day, and that's why we've been partnering with AG1 for so long. And AG1 is offering new subscribers a free $76 gift when you sign up. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/talkville to get this offer. That's drinkag1.com/talkville to start your new year on a healthier note. What's up, Mr. Stephen DeKnight in the house?
Hello, guys. My God, it's been a...
What's happening?
Oh, living the dream.
You haven't changed.
Well, you got the beard, but you haven't changed.
Yeah, I got the white beard now. But God, I was thinking the other night, I think it's been like 18 years since I've seen you guys.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What was the first episode you did? Was it like Shimmer or something? What was it?
It was Run.
Run.
Run was my first step.
Yeah. This episode is so big and wonderful, and I got a lot of questions. But first of all, congrats on all the success. I mean, Spartacus is just freaking awesome.
Thanks, man.
Daredevil and Pacific Rim Rising, and like you've done so much. You also directed like Buffy and Smallville, and this is your world. Have you always loved this world that you work in now since growing up? Always,
since I was a kid. Growing up in the 60s and 70s and 80s. I was a little kid before VCRs. So it was always watching movies, watching TV shows. And I always loved the genre stuff.
What were you watching?
Oh my God. I mean, the original Battlestar Galactica, loved, the original Twilight Zone, the original Star Trek.
Yes.
I mean, I was watching everything, and every low budget sci-fi movie ever made.
Like Ed Wood shit?
Oh yeah. I saw Plan 9 from Outer Space when I was a little kid.
Wow. What, Tom?
Now let me ask you a question. Were you allowed to watch TV and movies, or did you sneak it from your parents?
Listen, my parents were a couple of ex-hippies. So not only was I allowed to watch, I saw things at a young age that I probably shouldn't have, because they took us to the drive-in all the time. So since before I could talk, I was watching Grindhouse movies. I think I was like 6 when I saw Last House on the Left.
Oh boy, dude.
Yeah, and it was like they did not care. R-rated, didn't matter.
Wow.
Yeah, I was allowed to watch anything.
Let me ask you this, going into Smallville, it's like, how did you get started in Smallville? How did they find you? How did you find them? How did that happen?
Jeff Loeb.
Really?
Yeah, because I had worked with Jeff on the Buffy animated series that Joss was developing that never got off the ground, but we wrote a bunch of scripts. I met Jeff. We hit it off. He ended up on Smallville. And he was always calling me up saying, hey, it's really great over here. I think you'd really love Alan Miles and the whole cast and crew. Why don't you come over? So when Angel wrapped up its run and I was looking for a new place to go, I went over and I sat down with Alan Miles and really loved him. And I was always a big comic book fan. So it just felt like a really natural fit.
Wow. Was it intimidating or did you just feel like you fit in and it was just smooth sailing?
Well, a new job is always intimidating because the way things were run on Buffy and Angel is very different from the way it was run on Smallville. So there was a bit of acclimating. A part of that is just on Buffy and Angel, we wrote the show and shot the show here in LA. And obviously with Smallville, we were writing it here and shooting it up in Vancouver, which was my first experience with not being right next to production.
Right.
We always felt that when, it was 85, it was like 80 degrees in Los Angeles, and we were up in Vancouver, and you guys were writing rain towers in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff.
Bastards.
Yes, long exterior night shoots during the winter. Look, that caught up with me on Justice because I don't know if you remember. I got deathly ill when we were shooting that and lost my voice.
Remember that. Yes.
Yeah, they had to get a bullhorn just to talk to the actors. And it was when we were in that methane reclamation plant that we're 33.
The shit factory.
The shit factory.
Yeah.
Is when I just completely lost my voice. That was also, we had torrential rains, and I remember nobody could get coffee because the water supply had been contaminated. I remember that.
Christ.
That made things tough. But yeah, it was, we were down here in the nice warm climes, riding you guys out in the rain in the middle of winter.
Well, let me ask you this, Steve. When you wrote this episode, obviously you broke it down. You pitched it, right? In the writer's room? Mm-hmm. You pitched it. They loved it. You're off to the races. How many revisions and how much input did they have, and how much did it change?
I don't remember it changing very much. It's Alan Miles. We used to do these kind of day-long story-breaking meetings that once or twice a year, Alan Miles would take us all to some hotel in Los Angeles, and we'd spend the whole day, basically plotting out the big moves. Usually this would happen right early in the season or mid-season. We would do that. And they had chosen this idea of a proto Justice League story. And it was just luck of the draw that I got the episode. And it's actually good that it did, because I was very much considering not directing again. If you remember my first directorial effort on Smallville, a little gem called Ageless, aka the Exploding Baby episode.
Oh, yeah.
That did not go well, in my opinion. It's not one of our shining moments.
Did you write it?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I won't get into weeds, but interesting side story. What that episode was supposed to be, I pitched them in the idea of Night of the Living Dead with kryptonite zombies, where the Luthor Corps truck carrying meteor rock sludge overturns in a stormy night by a cemetery, reanimates the dead. They surround the Kent farm, and Clark is powerless because they're kryptonite-powered zombies.
That sounds great.
That sounds kind of.
I thought so too.
Up my alley.
I go off to do a rewrite on another script. I come back a week later and I bump into Al in the hallway, and he goes, Steve, we got a new story for you. You're going to love it. Clark and Lana find a baby. And I'm like, I'm fucked.
I'm fucked.
So with Justice, it was luck of the draw. And, I was delighted that I got that to write and direct.
Well, you said you were like not going to direct. Were you saying you're not going to direct any more Smallville, or you always wanted to direct more?
I was thinking about not directing anything ever again.
Really?
Yeah, because I thought I kind of sucked at it.
Wait a minute. So Justice was such a success, and you killed it, that it revived that sort of spirit.
It did. Very much so. I thought, well, maybe I can figure this out, because directing is not second nature to me. I'm first and foremost a writer.
Right.
So the directing for me is like rubbing my head and my belly and being on a unicycle. It takes a lot of concentration.
Right.
But I had such a great time on Justice. It was just, and I hadn't seen the episode since it aired, like about 18 years ago. And I fired it up last night, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, hey, this is directed pretty well. I like what I'm seeing.
It's a great episode. It was honestly one of the best episodes. I think a lot of fans consider it like one of the top episodes of the series. And it just has that superhero feel. I love the character. It wasn't over the top. Every character was, defined, had their own thing going. And it felt like, oh, wow, we're going to see more of the Justice League. And you wanted more of the Justice League. Did you feel like it was difficult to direct such a large in scale in terms of like the scope of a show? This is bigger than a lot of the episodes.
Yeah, the hardest thing is really just time. It is you never have you guys know, you never have enough time on set. You're always needing to rethink things on the fly, and now we only have a half hour. when we were supposed to have 2 hours. What can we do?
I learned a lot when I directed when an actor was a half hour late, and I learned what effect that has.
Huge.
It's
Yes.
like, you really don't be late. Just don't be late.
I know.
Yeah, it murders you.
Yeah.
We always used to say when I was directing TV, the moment you step on set, you're 2 hours behind schedule. It's just, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
You're always behind schedule. So that was challenging. And we did cut out a few things. I remember originally you were supposed to see Arthur Curry, Aquaman, in the water. We were going to do a whole thing in a tank. And then it was like, this is going to take an entire day to shoot. It's just too difficult for the time we have.
Right. What was the toughest scene to direct, and how did you tackle it?
I think pretty much everything in the methane factory, the shit factory, was tough just because of the conditions. The air was noxious.
Oh God. I remember that shit.
I was deathly ill.
Yeah.
And so all of that was very, very challenging.
How did you power through that though? Like, is it something that you just juice yourself up on Red Bull, or what do you do to get through a day and not say, I can't do this?
Well, basically you don't have a choice. You've got to do it no matter how sick you are. Unless you pass out, you've got to do it, because otherwise it'll screw production. So, you just load up on cough medicine, and, there's a chunk of that third act, or would it be the fourth act, where they're in that facility that I was just floating through the whole thing. I was so hopped up on cold medicine.
Did you not know what you had? Like, once you finish, you go, did you tell your wife or your kid or whoever, a friend, go, well, I finished it. I don't know what the hell it is. I think it's good. I don't have any idea what this is.
That's the way I feel every time I direct. It's like you get to the end and you're like, well, I hope that cuts together, because I have no idea, I think I got 20% of what I had planned to do up on screen. And then I think the first inkling that it was something special was our post supervisor, Ken Horton. He bumped into me and said, "Hey, that's a really great episode."
Ooh,
and
that's high praise from him.
Very high praise from him. So I thought, oh, great, okay, and they were excited in editing. So that was a good indication that we actually got something.
When I directed my first episode, I got a call from Ken right before I directed my second episode, and we had that video conference where we do the tone meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked every single head of department to leave the room except for me. And he sat there and talked to me for an hour about what I did wrong on my first episode, and it helped me out so much.
Yeah,
like I really appreciated that he did that. Because he knew his stuff, man.
He really did. He really did, and he really cared, which is great. I've had similar talks to me after I've finished episodes. It's like, okay, here's what worked, here's what didn't. Hugely helpful.
I was just pumped. My episode is coming up that I directed, and I just remember getting a rough assembly of it. And I looked at my assistant, and I go, it was my cousin Adam. I flew him up to just pay him for a week, and we watched it, and I go, "This is pretty fucking awesome, man. I'm good with this." Yeah, it doesn't get much better than this, man. Slap some music on that. But I was just so excited to do it, and it's, I was telling Tom, because he directed some episodes, and I just was like, I'm good. They asked me if I want to do more, and I go, no, it's so much work.
There you go.
When you're on a show, I'm like, and I went on to direct like a movie and stuff, but I was like, it was such, you take it for granted that everybody knows, every department knows exactly what they're doing. Everybody's doing their jobs. It's not like you have to ask for this and ask for that. It's like this infrastructure that's already in progress. It's already working. And so when you go off to direct a movie, you're like, wait a minute, none of this I got to micromanage everything.
You've got to be everywhere at once. That was the great thing about Smallville. The crew was fantastic, just phenomenal. Yeah. And the cast was wonderful. It was such a great experience. You guys were great.
Well, I appreciate that. And one of the things that I remember reading this episode and being like, oh man, this is because I had such thin skin when it came to the idea of superhero on the show because I was so attached to the journey of Clark Kent. And I remember you coming in and you just, your whole demeanor really put me at ease. I had a sense that you weren't going to let it go to those places that I didn't feel comfortable going, and which then allowed me to focus. So thank you for that, because it really could have gotten just, jumping shark and all that other
absolutely,
stuff. So.
yeah. It still needed to stay grounded within that world of Smallville.
I just text Al Goff and I said, Stephen DeKnight is on the show. Any questions? He goes, that's great. Ask him how much he loved me and Miles. And he put a smiley face. And then he said, we love Steve. He is great. And Justice is an all-time great episode.
Oh, that's great. I tell everybody, Al and Miles were so good to me. Just wonderful and supportive and just lovely. Loved working with Al and Miles.
That's great. You seem like such an even-keeled, genuine guy since the first time I met you, and all these big projects you do, like Spartacus. I mean, the amount of work that takes. But do you ever lose your cool? Are you a guy that ever snaps sometimes?
Regrettably, I have snapped.
What snaps you? What is the one thing you don't tolerate?
Well, I snapped on set about 5 years ago as a director, and I deeply regret it. And it's not like I never yelled directly at people, but I was yelling. I don't think I've ever cursed as much on a set. And basically it's like we were doing this big thing in Toronto where we had to close down a street that they had never allowed to be closed down before. And it was a big action sequence. We had 2 days to do it. We spent a week. I spent hours with everybody, with maps of what was going on and how we were shooting. And every day I would say, this is so tight. We can't have a 15-minute delay, so let's go over it and over and over it. And I got onto set and cars were supposed to be placed in the right position. And none of the cars were set. And I'm like, we spent a week. And then somebody pops up and says, yeah, but we had a question, so we didn't want to set them before I'm like, I have a phone. So we lost 2 hours right off the top, and then it went downhill from there. It's like so many departments were just not functioning together on the same page, and I lost my cool. It was a good learning experience, though. I mean, and now the next thing I do, I really want to channel, Richard Donner, because he is everything you read.
I'm looking at Richard Donner's poster of Superman right here, signed by Gene Hackman.
Everything you hear about the way he presents himself on set is so supportive and wonderful. And the biggest thing I felt bad about losing my cool is realizing, even though I wasn't yelling at anybody specific, the tension that it created with everyone.
It doesn't work.
It's counterproductive. It's absolutely counterproductive. I should have marshaled through, made jokes, kept a brave face, and went home and cried into my pillow like a professional.
It's kind of cool, though, as a director, to be smooth, even-keeled, kind, nice, collaborative, but every once in a while, just to say, it is not in the files! And let everybody know that, hey, there's a little bit in there that's like, I'm not a pushover. Sometimes you gotta, like Walken said in this movie, he said, you're a lion, and sometimes you gotta get up and you run like the wind, you tear through everything because you gotta show them you're a lion. Right?
Very true. Yeah. Yeah. It's that delicate balance where you want everyone to feel like it's a collaborative effort, but also everybody needs to know that you're making the decisions, because otherwise it's just chaos.
Yeah. Was Joss Whedon easy to work with?
Yeah. Now that's a loaded question, I got to say.
You don't have to answer it, but.
No, I'll answer it. Look, I'm still surprised at everything that came out. And, it's a lot of mixed feelings for me, because he basically plucked me from obscurity and really started my career. That said, I can't condone any of the things that have come out.
Right.
And when they did, I remember reading a bunch of it. It was like, what? Now, granted, I was kind of a low-level writer at that time, so I wasn't in the inner circle, but it was shocking. He was mostly great. Any negative thing with us as writers was purely sometimes he's so quick-witted and so fast and funny. You could be the butt of a sudden joke that could make you feel bad, but it wasn't coming from a place of trying to make you feel bad.
Right. I got
It's
you.
just sometimes his wit got ahead of his common sense.
Lastly, I got to ask you, because I have you, and I just want to say the most daunting project you've ever done had to be Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Big movies.
I mean, that's
my God.
I remember watching that, and I don't watch those kind of movies, and I actually really liked it, and I was like,
To follow up on that, when, not that you can compare the two, but when you're on Smallville, you're on a set, you have the actors, you can see everything that's going to be on the frame.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim, you're juggling the imagination of what is going to be put on later. I mean,
and
that's
trusting
a big
it.
It was, I'm glad I did it. I was actually supposed to do an $8 million 3 People in a House movie. And then suddenly Mary Parent called up and said, hey, we're having a problem getting this off the ground. What do you think about Pacific Rim 2? I'm like, that's a little bit bigger than 3 People in a House, but how can you say no? The difficulty came is generally a movie of that size takes 3 years from start to finish. And it ended up, we only had 2 years. So we had a year less, which was basically cut out of the prep time. And then we had written a script for Charlie Hunnam to come back as the lead. And I turned it in and everybody loves it. It's like, great, this is going to be awesome. Hey, this feature stuff is pretty easy. I'm not shitting you. The next day it's announced Charlie Hunnam is going to do his passion project, a remake of Papillon that shoots at the same time we're supposed to shoot. So he dropped out. And I love Charlie. He's fantastic. But then it was chaos with the script. It was one script after the other that we were generating. And so by the time we got John Boyega, who was lovely and fantastic, I think we had like 2.5, 3 months to prep a movie that should have taken a year to prep. Jeez. So it was a lot of being on set. And, with Pacific Rim, you've got the 2 pilots inside the giant Jaeger, and that needs to match everything that's going on outside. Well, half the time, we didn't know what the hell was going on outside, so I had to guess on set what was going on.
Well, you guessed right.
Well, thank you. It was trial by fire.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot. I think I finally recovered enough to tackle another feature. Not one that big.
You are one of the best. What's next for you, real quick?
Well, the spinoff of Spartacus, House of Asher.
Yes.
We're hard at work now. We finished shooting the first season. We're working on writing the second season. That'll come out in the fall.
Some nudity?
Nudity? There might be a little bit, just a smidge of nudity.
Yeah, right. Well, look, this has been an honor. Justice is one of the best episodes I've seen. The direction was great. You're a top-notch guy, great director, great writer, and honestly, I just always liked you. I remember working with you. And look, if there's anything ever in the future, I'd love to work with you again, and I know Tom would. So keep us in mind.
Yes,
I would love that. Listen, working with you guys was a high point of my career.
Michael really wants to be naked in Spartacus. That's what I'm getting from this.
Spartacus!
I think we can make that happen.
Yeah, I want to show that I'm hung like a large kitchen match. Dude, Steven, we love you. Thank you for this. This has been an absolute joy, and maybe you'll come back. And regardless, let's keep in touch.
My pleasure. I'd love to come on anytime. Loved working with you guys. Would love to talk to you again.
All right, brother. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. I'll tell you what, BetterHelp has helped so many people, so many friends. Ryan here, works with BetterHelp, and it has changed his life in many ways and mine. What's great about this is it's online, folks. Therapy online, it's so much cheaper than going in person or offline therapy. This has really changed a lot of lives.
Also, how about the time you save driving to the therapist and driving home?
Oh my gosh. And if you want to change a therapist, Tom, you just change a therapist. You don't have to worry about saying, oh, I'm not going to be using you anymore. You just go to the next one. It makes it very easy because I think people have a lot of thoughts of, oh, this is going to be uncomfortable. I don't know. I really hope people give it a shot. And look, let's talk numbers. Traditional in-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 a session, which adds up really fast. But with BetterHelp online therapy, you can save on an average up to 50% per session. It's pretty incredible. And with BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and on time.
Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense and can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. Your mental health is worth it, and now it's within reach. Therapy from BetterHelp is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself.
With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life. Plus, switch therapist at any time. Your well-being is worth it. Visit betterhelp.com/talkville to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/talkville. Emily, what's up?
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm in South Dakota.
South Dakota. What do you do in South Dakota?
I mean, there's a lot of nature.
Ooh, I like nature.
The Black Hills are beautiful.
Really?
You're not a fracker?
What's that?
More farming.
What's a fracker?
A fracker is where they drill down, they pump a lot of water and break up all the stuff to get the oil out. It was a big thing a couple years ago out there.
That's in North Dakota.
That's North Dakota. You're wrong.
Oh, never mind then. We can edit that.
South Dakota is the better Dakota.
Trivia question. Don't answer, Emily. Only Tom and Ryan. What's the capital of South Dakota?
Pierre.
Yes, that's correct. Pierre.
I was going to say
It's
that.
pronounced Pierre.
Oh,
Pierre.
Pierre. And you know what the capital of
We're not
North Dakota
French.
is?
Bismarck.
Bismarck.
They pronounce that Bismarck.
Bismarck. Bismarck. Hey, Emily, why Smallville? What do you love so much about Smallville that you're here today?
Well, there's the story. I mean, I had 2 older brothers, so superheroes were a big part of growing up. And then all the characters. Plus, when I started, I was just getting done with 8th grade year, so then I was going to go into freshman high
You're
school.
aging us now.
Oh, wow.
Now we feel old. We feel old, Emily.
Yeah.
Were you into the Clark Lana? Did you believe that? Think it was going to last? Or were you kind of skeptical?
She was over
No,
it.
because I knew about Lois Lane.
Oh.
So I knew a lot. Yeah. No, I was more of a Chloe Sullivan fan.
Oh, okay.
What? Let me ask you this. What was it about Justice that you liked? Because it was a really great episode. I thought, they knocked it out of the park, Stephen DeKnight. But what did you love about it?
It was like a comic book fan of Justice League's live action.
Yeah.
The first ever. And so you get all the quick remarks, the one-liners, the tuna can to Aquaman and everything. And so that's really fun. And then you get to bring Chloe as possibly becoming Watchtower. It's just...
That's cool.
I think it's probably my top 10 episodes of Smallville.
Wow. I bet you that you liked Lex Luthor a little, but then you're starting not to like him.
I love your portrayal of Lex Luthor.
Well, thank you.
I think it's the best because you really showed him as a good person. And now we're getting to see that evilness come through.
Yeah.
That we know from the comic books and shows.
Did you watch alone? Did you watch Smallville alone, or you had friends that watched it with you?
She watched with her brothers,
Oh.
No, my brothers were actually, my oldest brother was in college at the time that I found it. I kind of watched it alone. I mean, my dad would sometimes watch an episode with me or so. I'm still working on getting him hooked to it. My other brother kind of was more of a Batman fan.
Tom loves Batman.
So
I like Batman.
So I was also in middle school, and my other brother that was home was in high school. So, that's not cool to hang out with your little sister.
Well, yeah, I guess not. But yeah, that's
now.
older brothers for you.
Yeah, we now do weekly game nights. So,
do you have any Smallville memorabilia or DVDs or action figures or anything?
About the only one that I really have bought is I have the 10-box DVD set.
Nice.
That came with a piece of paper that looks like the Daily Planet with the month and year that you bought the DVD set.
Do you have a DVD player?
Well, yes. And then we also have a bunch of Xboxes and Wii's.
Right, because you play it through there.
My freshman year of college, I actually took that with me and watched all 10 seasons on my Xbox while I did math homework.
Well, this is awesome. I love that you're a patron and you support the podcast. You like being a patron?
I love it. I love guessing Ryan's favorite scene.
Do you usually get it right more than I do?
I think I'm on par with you.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
But I'm usually right.
I'm always behind a couple.
Yeah, Tom's always the loser when it comes to Ryan's favorite scene. What do you think Ryan's favorite episode, if you could guess, one of his favorite episodes is? What would you think?
I'm going to probably say the season finale of season 5.
That was a pretty big episode.
That was a huge one.
I think you liked that one.
I did.
Emily, you're fantastic. We love you. Thanks for being here. Let's go to the hotline. Talkville. It's hotline time, folks, and we're going to start with patron privilege. This is Garrett W. We love our Garrett W. He's got his poster there in the background, Mike's poster.
Hey there, this is Garrett W. from Wisconsin. My question is for Tom and Michael for Justice. Tom, what was it like working with the other heroes in this episode? It was the first time that there were all of you together against a threat. And then Michael, what was it like playing the threat that they're all going up against? That was pretty cool to see Lex as the villain we've always pictured him as. So, yeah.
It was awesome because I didn't have to work that much and I still got to be cool and dark. I love it when I could just come in and make a presence and it's like it's enough. You don't, let them do their thing and then I'm this lurking.
Lurking?
What did I say? Luring. Yeah. But what was it like, Tom, with all these guests, all the boys back in town? Did you like it?
I think the advantage we had is that I had worked with them all before. If we had just sort of thrown this episode out and we were all meeting each other for the first time, I think we would have lost the sense of camaraderie that I think we ended up having.
Good answer.
Hey, this is Tom Turner with a question for the season 6 episode Justice. Tom, that most epic finale when you guys are all walking slowly away from the explosion in the background. What was that like behind the scenes? Was that kind of goofy feeling in the moment, or did you guys know you were going for a really cool shot there? Thanks.
I do remember doing that because the camera was so far away from us because they were on a long lens. And so it kind of felt like we were all just walking down this like gymnasium by ourselves in a sense. Like that's a sense of space. You can't really see the camera because it's so far away, and we're all just like, all right, I hope I'm walking cool enough, and they did tell us it was slow motion. I always like to know that because there's subtle adjustments that you can make. You want to blink less. You want to focus a little differently than if it was just like regular speed film camera. So, or it wasn't film, but you know what I'm saying? Camera speed. So, I think we did a couple takes where we figured out what our rhythm was because we all kind of had to walk similarly. And funny enough, I don't remember anybody being upset about like where they were in the order. Because it's really like, of course, Clark had to be in the middle, but everyone was just like, all right, I'll stand there. I'll stand there.
That's cool, man. It was like that moment was like my evil moment where Lex is walking down 33.1, the slow motion shot. That's the same. Now it's the opposite. Now it's the superhero shot. Here's Charlie T.
Hello there. Charlie Thomas, North Carolina. Question for Michael, episode Justice. I got to say, I enjoy very much seeing the interactions between Lex and Bart Allen. Specifically, if it was around this time, I'm pretty sure it was, you were filming Justice League. So it's really cool seeing the interactions between that because in the parallel universe, Wally West is voiced by Michael Rosenbaum. So How does it feel working with a Flash and a Lex Luthor face off? Stay awesome, guys.
Charlie, you're awesome.
Did you judge his voice? Did you?
It was cool, man. It was cool to, voicing the Flash and then seeing the Flash on Smallville. And I had a blast working with him. In fact, Tom, in the series that I wrote that we'll potentially do eventually, in the opening, it's kind of a similar thing where the guy's running around and if he stops, he's going to die. In the very opening of the
oh, that's right.
show.
Yeah.
So that's where I got it from. I was like, that's cool. I'm using that. Let's see what Natalie has to say.
Hi, this is Natalie from Michigan. Tom, in the scene where Clark saves, not the Flash, Impulse, from the whatever you want to call it, and you jump through the glass, is that true that you guys would use candy glass or would you guys use something else? Also, was this you or was this your stunt double? Thanks, guys.
Interesting question. However, I don't recall. I don't remember doing it.
You don't remember?
Sorry.
It's candy glass for sure. That's for sure.
It's funny when I watched this episode. I'll be honest with you. I had just come off directing Hydro, and there's a lot in this episode that I don't remember doing.
Because you were exhausted. You just got done directing. Here's Justine.
Hi, this is Justine from Los Angeles. When Lionel alibis Clark at the end, do you think Lex was more upset at the idea Clark had an alibi or the idea Lionel had a family dinner with the Kents? Thanks.
Yeah, it pisses Lex off to no end. It's like, he's treated me like just shit. There's something up with this guy, and you're like buddy with him. What's going on, man? Lex is smart enough to realize there's something else going on with Lionel and Clark, and he's trying to figure that out. Here's Adam.
Hi, this is Adam Rodriguez from Torrance, California. Don't get me wrong, I love the show. I've watched it for many years, but after a while, around this time with the Justice League and with Zod, you start to notice that the show does everything that Superman will ever do while he is Superman, but instead of doing it while he's Superman, they do it before he ever became Superman. Like later he fights Doomsday, ever before he becomes Superman. I just think that's a little ridiculous. I was wondering what you think.
Hey, Adam, I understand what you're saying, but here's my take on it. It's just like he doesn't join the Justice League. So eventually he does. But right now, he's not ready for that. He's still growing up and still doing these things and hasn't made the decision. So he doesn't join the Justice League. So you'd think, yeah, I'm Superman, I'm doing all these things, but he's not. It was just sort of like one thing that he did, one event, working with each other, and then they're gone doing what they do because he's not ready yet. They are, he's not. So I would defend it that way. Tom, do you agree with me?
Well, I mean, it's a funny question because if Clark fights Doomsday before he's Superman, does that mean he fights him again somehow? I mean, that's a slippery slope.
You got to make it interesting. I don't know all the super mythology. So Adam, you know more than I do, but so if it irked you, so be it.
Hey guys, this is Brandon from Kokomo, Indiana, originally Battle Creek, Michigan. It's funny to me that, and they even comment on this in the episode that Aquaman AC is asking, how's Lois? Oh, you better ask your boss. Oliver, has dated her. Isn't it a little weird that wouldn't you think it'd be weird in like future Justice League situations that Clark's wife, Lois, with Superman has been through Aquaman, Green Arrow, and now Supes? I just feel like that'd be a little bit awkward around.
I think it'd be
Hall of
less.
Justice,
It'd be more
table.
awkward if she also hooked up with the Flash. But yeah, that's just fodder, man. That's just like, to me, it's like. It's just something to joke about, like, oh yeah, how's my ex? Yeah, shut up. It could be some funny conversation there, but I think that's kind of funny. Here's a text from Christy. What are your overall thoughts on the heavy nods to superhero fandom in episodes like these rather than various other real life storylines that could have been explored?
Ooh.
I don't know. I think you've been dealing with a lot of real life storylines, or with character storylines. And this is just a special episode that they all get together. So I thought it was refreshing. Didn't you guys?
Yeah, I think it falls into the category of like, let's make it fun for the fans.
Yeah. I liked it. And believe me, I'm not into that whole superhero shit.
I like
you guys are.
But like you needed like the reason it felt refreshing is because we have like 6 seasons of Smallville to fall back on, where there's just like there's so much foundation of the show
that it's okay.
That this was like, this is awesome. Like, but if they kept trying to do this like every episode, it would get exhausting. But like because it was like this one special thing, you could sense that. And, you know, the storylines aren't going anywhere, but like we got like this nice, cool thing.
I would have liked to seen a double episode. All those characters are there for 2 episodes and then they're gone. Like another episode where the story, it's to be continued after episode the first one, and then see what happens. I think that would have been cool.
I feel like Smallville's only ever done one double episode, and it was with Sarah Carter.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
No other guest goes like back to back.
I feel like there's another one. There's another one
later.
Brewing. Rosenbaum rating.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah.
We'll go with Tom first.
Rating. I mean, listen, I really liked it. It was, I didn't know it was going to happen because I don't remember so much of it. It was like I was watching it for the first time. I think it's a 2 for sure.
Ryan.
2.5.
I'm going to go 2.5, Bryce.
Oh.
Yeah, 2.5 for sure.
No, you have to keep it.
Look, I feel guilty about last week giving Tom a 1.5 now, but yeah.
Why? 1.5. Let me tell you something. 1.5 Roses is a really good show.
Because then I saw this and like, oh man, wait.
Well, this one's a bigger scope. This one's like a big episode.
I loved this, yeah.
Death and save count, 0 dead, 3 saved. Bart saves Chloe, Oliver saves Clark, Clark saves Bart. Through 11 episodes, 19 dead, 24 saved. Series, 196 dead, 214 saved. Ryan's Favorito Sinaco.
Ooh, good luck.
No, you have to do it. Don't tell us what it is.
All right, well, it's going to feel obvious to me.
Oh, great. Well, don't make it obvious when you read the questions.
It's so obvious, guys. Look.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
Cold open meeting the Flash. The heist.
The heist? What was the heist?
The whole
heist. Okay.
The whole thing. And then scene 3 where they're sort of walking off in the sunset like we're going to team up later.
See, that's tough. I don't know. It's either 2 or 3.
3.
You're going to go 3? I'm going to go 3-2, the hero shot.
Yeah.
2.
It's 2. See?
The whole thing, it was like, yeah, it's just like.
I thought you were going to go with the hero shot.
No, I felt like I was like playing with action figures like in my bedroom. I was like, yeah, then they do this and then they're going to do this.
Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Play with more than that.
This is what it is.
I like how you never know what we're going to say. I just felt like the superhero
I thought
shot.
it was so like, yeah, it was just like, so it was like, cool. Nice, cool.
I was going to say that
back to back.
All right, that's it for the episode. Stick around next week as we have some amazing times talking about season 6, episode 12, Labyrinth. Let us know your thoughts on the episode over on our socials at Talkville Podcast and Talkville Pod. Write a review. It really helps the show. And join patreon.com/Talkville. And if you want, also talkvillepodcast.com for great merch, really some great stuff there. Posters, cool t-shirts, mugs, all that stuff. And inside of your online store, Smallville Pilot, Leximus scripts, ship keys, Funko Pops, signed, do it. And we love you. And
remember, folks, always hold on to Smallville.
All right, we got to say, we got to do our shout outs, Tom. We know these folks are important to us, our patrons. Without a doubt, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Patreon.com/Talkville. Leanne P, Raj C, Santiago M, Little Lisa, Thomas Tom Turner, Shane W, Betsy D, Abby P, Fatima T, Karen Apple M, 99 more, Lilani N.
Stu G, always hold on to Smallville. Charlie T, Garrett W, Bob K, Tom N, Jason W, Lana rhymes with banana W. Nancy D, Brian G, Grape Jelly 817, Amanda R, Teddy 127, Michael P, thanks for the call, Ryan R, Randy B, Craig G, Jor-El, Heather and Greg, love you guys. I made Talkville, Heather and Greg, I'm sorry, love you guys. I made Talkville say butts, Brian H, Eric K, Clarks M, Kristen B, Finky Early is on time.
Damn, who's that? Jeanette E, General Zod, Theodore Jammin, J, Doug R, Carlos C, Ken the Limerick Guy, Corey L, Mr. Home Arcade, Claire M, D Brown, Karen Era M, Jules M, Eldon Supremo, Brian P, McBurts, Ginger Moose, Christoph S, I'm a Dr. Jim, not a superhero, Leah W, Amanda Lynn, Michael B, Sebastian F, Wolfie, Matthew and Lincoln B, Marion Louise L, C, Geo, Shanna Fafan, and Brian S, Tina E.
Matt Maverick, Jen T, Randy S, Cassie B, Brad A, Felicia R, Danny Mo Mirabel, Mary K, Sophie L, Rachel D, Steve, and Nate. Danger. When you're rich, you are crazy. You're eccentric. Rosenbaum fan, Sammy Sharman, Carrie Ann, the Alexander Castle. Thanks for your support. Daryl E, Jenny B, 76, Monica T, Ms. M, Emily, who locked.
Jeffrey K. Katja C. previously on Smallville. Keith B. Cookie Carrium. Libertaria. Danny Z. from Cleveland. Biagio C. Lady J. David L. Madison H. as told by Helen. Kelowna A. Natalia. Dr. J. Phenomenous. I don't even know what to say. I can't even say this. Pneumonolatrum microscopics. Okay, there we go. Dr. G and Dr. T. It's too many letters. I can't figure it out. Kryptonite, Brandon C, Flirtatious B, Per 6, Eluther Corp, Subsidiary, Kurgan K, Naman L, Smallville for Life, Bobby B, Kendrick F, Chad S, Stacy L, Other Brother Daryl.
Melanie P, Starla S, Charlie M, Cheyenne F, AJ Sison, Heather H, Tom and Michael's friend Mickey.
Sisson.
Allison C, Siren H?
Karen H, I think it's Karen or...
Oh, Karen H. Jill and Brett. The Real Chucky B, Hubs, Cuban Boy. Una. Laura C, Sarah C. Huh?
I'm just saying C with you. C.
Laura C, Sarah C, Adam C, Jackie Justice, John W, Jet Blazer Michael, Bradley H, Taylor C, of O, Laura L, Carolus, and Lex Kent.
There it is. The top tiers. We love you. Thanks for all the support and love.
And there's a lot of these guys are coming to the cruise.
Yeah. You guys, the cruise is going to be fantastic. All right. We love you. We'll see you, Tommy.
Thanks, guys.